right, baby. You guys know what time it is. I am excited for tonight's show. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the Before You Go Pro Locker Room Show. We rock and roll every single Thursday. We bring in the best of the best. You guys, if you don't want to hear from the armchair quarterbacks anymore and you want to hear from some people that really did it, then this is the show for you. So let's get right into it, B. We got a superstar with us. But first and foremost, I always introduce my boy from St. Louis, the one to the far right. What's going on, Guru?
I'm chilling, man. These Doritos busting. I don't know what kind of flavor this is. Hold on, let me see. What is it? Hey, zesty jalapeno Dorito busting. You gotta try them. No ranch, no not these right here. Try these.
Hey, don't give them too much time. They ain't paying us yet. So
they will.
I'm gonna have to try them chips, but they ain't paying us yet. So hey, you know who the comedian of the show is? That's Q, the Guru from St. Louis. But tonight, you guys, tonight's show is about the gentleman in the middle of the screen. And this was a bad man, you guys. I heard about him coming out the Bay Area, being a Bay Area native myself. Bishop O'Dowd High School. He would go on to become an All-American at O'Dowd, 4-star recruit. You guys decided to take his talents to the farm initially, where he would play for the Stanford Cardinal, and then finished his season a stellar career in college, you guys, up at USC with the Trojans. Many people from the Bay will probably be tuning in tonight, and just a man's man, you know, hard worker, nothing given to him. He's fought for everything, you guys, and now he is the coach of Lakeside High and doing big things. So I'm really pumped up to talk to this gentleman, and it's none other than the great Austin Jones. What's going on, Austin?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good, man, and I know you've been busy. So we thank you for your time, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, man. It's definitely been a wild ride, but I'm here and I'm happy where I'm at. So, you know, happy to be here.
That's what's
Definitely. So, hey, let's get into it, you guys. Once again, we got a special show for you. I know a lot of athletes will be tuning in tonight, parents, guys, and this is all about you. You guys having a chance to learn about this industry. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about, man, is actually your decision to stay home. I know you have many options coming out of O'Dowd, and you said, hey, I'm going to stay on the farm and go to Stanford. What was the main reason behind that decision?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, Stanford kind of sells itself in terms of just the degree and the pedigree that they had. I mean, they had, you know, Bryce Love just before me, and then just before that, they had Christian McCaffrey. So it was putting out running backs back to back to back. And at that point, I wanted to kind of, you know, come along and be that next person to step up and be, you know, the next pedigree of backs. And then also too, I lived in 5 different states throughout my childhood, so I was like, you know, I thought it would be much simpler if I just stayed closer to home. I didn't really want to go to Cal just because it's way too close, and I didn't like the campus. But you know, other than that, you know, I thought Stanford was definitely like the next, you know, best thing. And you know, I got really close with my running back coach that I was there with, and also too the dudes that I came with. I still talk to them to this day. The guy that I played with at Stanford that came in that recruiting class. So you know, I got really close with them as well. So it was just right there at home, real simple, real easy. So made it easy for me.
100%, man. And yeah, like you said, when you think about the on the field and off the field, you can't beat Stanford. Obviously, 3 seasons up there, blood, sweat, and tears. And then you decided to go down south, which might not have been looked upon as too well up in the Bay Area. But what made you say, hey, I'm going to give USC a shot?
Yeah, man. I mean, I saw a lot of change going on there, obviously, with Lincoln Riley coming in. You know, I'm big on growth. And, you know, I felt like I needed to kind of, you know, revamp myself in terms of just my game and kind of just, you know, my profile and what I wanted to stand out to be. And I felt like at USC, especially Lincoln Riley, I can show, you know, different ways that I can catch the ball at the backfield more, you know, running different routes and doing a lot of different things. And, you know, he sells himself just in terms of, him as a coach. So I was like, I wanted to stay in California just because my parents and everything. Like I said, I lived in a lot of different places, so it made it, easier for me just to go down south. Because again, I didn't want to go to Cal, so the next best thing would have been SC, UCLA. So saw a lot of change going on. I mean, we brought in, I think, 23 transfers that year. So, I felt like it was an opportunity to really go ahead and revamp myself and, give it a shot down south. So.
Now, when you think in your mind, I'm going to make this decision, I'm going to leave Stanford, I've been here 3 years. Who's the first person you're telling? Is it mom? Is it dad, the running back coach? Who's the first person that knew you wanted to lead the farm?
I told mom because I knew mom would be okay with it. Then the kicker was I had to go convince dad. So that was that was the first person I told. Because I told my mom, and she was like, "Well, that's what you want to do." My mom real even keel. And my dad was like, "Well, let's think about this." So I had to, I had to really convince him to, kind of make that change and everything. And then eventually he got on to it, and he was just like, whatever you want to do, we're gonna make it happen. So. Definitely.
And shouts out to Mr. Jones because I've met him before, and I know that was probably a tough conversation. So that's a good one right there. We got some people coming on in. I see Justin Taylor saying "Go Bears." He must have been a Bears fan. He says Coach Ost too. So thank you for joining us. I see the great Mark Rosillo, 2-time all-time Bay Area legends on the screen. I love that. Appreciate you. That's my brother from my high school and also works with your dad. So I appreciate you coming in. And then Ty says, let's get it. So, hey, we're getting after it. The great Austin Jones, you guys are going to get some sauce tonight. Q, talk to me, man. I know we're old school, so you never went to the portal, but you did play some pro ball and had to get accustomed to a new locker room. Give me some tips if I'm new to a locker room and trying to get some respect.
I mean, man, it's always, man, the first way is always going to be, practice. That's always the easiest way, man, is practice. Try to pick up on, whatever new schemes as far as X's and O's as quickly as you possibly can. I would say when you're part of a new team, don't be especially as far as your position coach, don't be afraid to ask questions, right? Because they're going to expect you to be up to speed as quickly as possible. And you should expect that of yourself because that's the only way you're going to be able to compete for time, right? So I would say that would be at the top of the list.
That's pretty good. Austin, I mean, this is your era, man, where these guys may go to 3 schools, 4 schools. How was the transition in the locker room?
I mean, it was real kind of easy, really, because like I said, it was 23 dudes transferring in. So I mean, it was everybody, whole different coaching staff. So it was literally like we all here learning each other, learning how to interact with each other, be around each other. So it was real smooth because, like I said, like there's so many people coming in at the same time. So everybody understands, like, look, we're learning, I'm learning you learning me. So we're just gonna figure it out together. So that's how I think that's really what made us more of a closer team our first year, just because we were forced to kind of figure out who each other are. When you get to a locker room and a program that, already got to have guys kind of set in stone in terms of the seniors all the way down, they already kind of have their cliques and who, who's what and, how they interact with each other. But with us, it was just like,
wide open. Yeah.
Like, what's up, dude? Like, my name's Austin. And, we kind of figured each other out. So it was definitely a unique situation for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just the new era, you guys, and kids are more accustomed to it and just gelling quicker. So thank you for sharing that. We are on to our next topic, you guys. And if you're joining us for the first time, all of the topics are on the bottom ticker. You are rocking with the Locker Room Show. I see some more people coming in. Shout out Coach Ost. John Ellis is coming in. He says the legend. So I see some Modal people. I know a lot of the Bay Area will be representing tonight. So thank you guys for joining us. We've got the great Austin Taylor. This next one I'm excited to talk to you about, man, because you're making a transition. I mean, you went from playing big-time college ball, Stanford, USC. You get the pro shot with the Commanders, and then you decide to hang it up. And now recently been named the head coach at Lakeside and already getting the culture right and doing big things. But let me ask you, Austin, I mean, what was the impetus behind hanging up the cleats so fast?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is I'd say it was either NFL or nothing for me. I didn't necessarily want to, bounce around from, UFL or CFL or anything like that. I love ball at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, a lot of athletes, they go down this kind of spiral in terms of, figuring out who they are in terms of, what they want to do after football. And I wanted to get a jump on that earlier. And, I've seen a lot of people kind of go through that kind of dark spin in terms of, not being able to let it go. And I told myself, I said, if this is the shot I get, I'm going to do everything I can to do it. And, I can be firm with myself and say that I gave everything I got. And, it would be one thing if I didn't feel like I left a lot out there. But at the same time, I felt like I did everything I could in order to make the team. I didn't get the shot. So I knew I wanted to, get into something. I wanted to get in something that related to football. So I thought coach was my next option. And I had this opportunity here. And I just kind of reaching out and seeing where I could go from here. And I was like, okay, let's do coaching. Let's see where we can go there. So, I love ball, but at the end of the day, mental health is a real thing. And I knew that mentally, like it would have took a toll on me in terms of just, getting the shot, not getting the shot. So I thought it was best for me to kind of just transition towards, something that, is more fulfilling. I get a lot of fulfillment out of developing kids and getting to see them live out their dreams. And I'm the 1% of people I can say that I played in an NFL game. I put on a jersey. I did everything that I could in that moment. Not everybody can say that. Not a lot of people. Football ends at 18. Some ends at 23. So I did what I could, and I'm happy where I'm at.
That's what's up.
Oh, 100%, man. And yeah, you left it on the field, high school All-American, big-time college career, got to put on the NFL uniform. So, an amazing career. Q, you and I decided to go a different route. We actually did continue and played arena football, Canada. When should a young man hang it up? Is it when I can't pay the bills? Is it when I can't stay healthy? When should I hang it up?
Man, you know what, man? It really kind of depends on the individual, bro. It really does. Like he was explaining his story. To each his own. I mean, it's granted, we kind of telling our age, but when you look at, the Rasheed Davises, you look at the Kurt Warners that maybe had they hung it up, they wouldn't have ended up being what they were. But the fact that they didn't want to let it go, man. They wanted to persevere and continue forward. And I mean, look what Kurt, look how he ended up, going from the, the Barnstormers, man, to what he accomplished. So it all depends on the individual, man. And internally, man, whether you can come to grips with it or not is really the issue. But internally, man, when it's time to shut it down. You do.
There's a fine line, you guys, because some guys hang it up. They stay way too long on the field and end up kind of beating themselves up more, making it worse. And some guys actually give it up too early, where they never are fully whole, and they gave it up too early. My dad admits to that, man. So you got to play it out your system, but you got to listen to yourself individually. So good stuff right there, you guys. We are on to our next topic and enjoying our time with the great Austin Jones, Bay Area superstar, went on to Stanford SC and doing big things now as a coach. I want to get into this one, you guys, and it's camp season. Well, before you go pro, we work with many different athletes across the country, but they're getting ready and packing up their bags, Q. And Austin, I know you've been here before too. So it's competition time. And a lot of these kids are trying to find a home, trying to impress a coach. I know some of your kids are, Austin. So I want to ask you, man, when Coach Prime is saying, hey, come to my camp, but he's only maybe taking 6, 7, 8 high schoolers. Is the big time college camp thing a scam now, or do you think there's still some value?
I mean, me personally, I'm not really too big on camps. It may be a little bit different now, just in terms of like the transfer portal and the JUCOs and all that stuff. But I mean, me personally, I only went to one camp. My entire high school career, I never went to. I didn't go to all the bunch of camps and everything like that. I went to, rivals and all that stuff just because I wanted to go to the national thing. And, just because I went for that. But other than that, I never really went to a bunch of college camps or anything. I think I went to one college camp my whole high school career. Because at the end of the day, if you're a baller, they're going to find you. If you're a really good player, they're going to find you. So, like, you don't, and I think now it may have changes in terms of, how much, kind of land that it takes up in terms of, like, transfer portal and JUCOs and everything. So now I'd say probably going to them camps probably will help you a little bit more just in terms of just getting your name out there, because there's just so many people now. Like back when I was playing, it was just, you had one free transfer. That was it. There wasn't this transfer portal. There wasn't NIL. NIL didn't start to the end of my sophomore year. So it's like now having that and seeing the kind of difference in terms of like kind of landscape of football now, I would say probably going to those camps would probably be a little bit of a benefit. But again, too, it's like when you're in a situation where you go to these camps, you got to understand too, just because you're there, doesn't really help you. Like you got to, be able to put on a show, and then you might not get the shot, but at least your name's getting out there. And I think instead of just going to the singular camps, to go into those camps that got all the coaches and, all the different schools there as well would probably be a big help just to get your name out there a little bit more. But I think back then it definitely was a scam, but now I think it's a little bit different for sure.
Yeah, it is. You guys have to be aware of the times and how times change. We got the great John Ellis says, I always thought it was a scam, them dang camp. So, Q, talk to me. They rocking and rolling in Texas where you're at. Would your son be on the camp circuit, many different camps, or how would you roll?
No, I would be. It's very, very selective. I mean, to me, again, I'm always going to be old school. I'm probably never going to change in a lot of ways. Game film is what sells a kid, and I'm always going to focus on that first and foremost. To me, if you have game tape, then I mean, man, your camps, I would never say not go to a camp, but again, as he said, you're going to be very, very selective. It's so many, the numbers are so high, you're not going to get a lot of reps. So it's one of those things where, the each is own. Strap it up and ball for your respective school if you want to put yourself on the map.
100%.
Okay, there you go, you guys. And obviously, we work with athletes before you go pro. We do recommend that you get some exposure, but it's got to be strategic. I don't like the 4, 5, 6, 7 camps. We paid $1 million this summer and didn't get anything. So you guys got to be strategic if you're hitting these camps. You got to stand out, like Austin said. If you're just joining us for the first time, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. We work tremendously hard to bring you guys the best of the best in the football industry, and we want to grow this thing organically. So we need your love, support. Bring a friend, bring your dog, bring your pet. Make sure that you come back to the Locker Room Show every single Thursday and rock and roll with Q, the Guru, and Coach Wood. All right. So, hey, we are on to the next topic, and this one is interesting, you guys. I know this caught your attention, Guru, because we some former DBs, but the great Charles Woodson has a son that has just got the blessing, you guys, of being offered by his alma mater, Michigan. And I wanted to ask you, and it seems like he's a bad boy now. He's not this year. He's 2027, so he's got some time. We'll see if he sticks with the offer or if he commits, I should say. But I wanted to ask you two gentlemen, because you guys played at some big-time universities. And Austin, we'll start off with you. The legacy athlete, man. The legacy athlete, when you have little Austin one day and he's rushing for 2K in his high school season, maybe in Lakeside one day, are you feeling a certain way if USC doesn't recruit your boy?
No, man. I mean, at the end of the day, these coaches owe nothing really to your kids. It just they don't owe anything to them. At the end of the day, your kid has to be a baller. At the end of the day, like you're not. At the end of the day, people got to understand that, your kid is still an investment. Like, yes, you were a great player, but that doesn't mean your kid is going to be a great player also. Like, they're putting a lot, especially now with the NIL space and all that they're doing, they're putting millions and millions of dollars into your kid. So, at the end of the day, do I want, a Ferrari or do I want a Civic? Simple as that, and I have to kind of make that decision in between, not, there's no feelings involved. It's just really, how you're supposed to recruit. They're not going to just recruit a dude just because. There's a lot of people that do that, then they end up with somebody that they just got a roster spot for and they're not ended up being good. So it's like, at what point do you kind of, vary that in terms of, what you want to do with your program and how you want to do it? Do you want to build it off names and just because, we have this dude and we have, for example, Charles Woodson's son, like I've never heard of him. I bet he's a baller just, from what just the offer that you pulled up just now. But, say Charles Woodson isn't good for whatever reason, right? You go back to that and then you say, okay, well, is he a good football player? No. Then why do we have him on the football team? Because we wouldn't do that with anybody else. So it doesn't really help you just to have him there just for the namesake. Like, are you trying to build a football team or are you trying to build a movie? It's one or the other. So it's like you gotta vary that between, is he actually a baller or is he just, some dude join a team so he can make a storyline out of him, right? But shout out to Charles Woodson, he's a dog. So I bet his son is probably a baller.
Good point. Q, let's say you're the running back coach at SMU in Texas, and Eric Dickerson's son's coming through. Are you supposed to go recruit that boy and make sure if he's equal to the other kid from Houston, should it go to him? What's the guru do?
Well, that's partly going to depend on if he has a better curl than his dad had. If he had a better curl, probably going to go that direction. Probably so. That's me. That's me as a coach. If I see the curl,
with the headband,
right? Yeah, he in there. But that being said, no, you can't just go off a name. I mean, and that's the funny thing about it is it's like as we get older, we're seeing everybody's kid. With Chris Henry's kid, he's a dog. Obviously, we're talking about Charles Woodson's kid. We got Joey Porter's kid. He was at Penn State. He's in the league now. Marvin Harrison's kid. So it's like, but I've always just wondered, like, the amount of pressure that these kids have had all the way from little league all the way up through college. Like, that is some really, really big shoes to fill. And I don't believe that these former NFL star dads, they put additional pressure on there. It's just the fact that you're wearing the name, and that's, man, you have to have some different size shoulders, man, to carry some of these names, dude.
So what you're saying is maybe the kid and the family should watch the son having to follow in the footsteps.
Yeah.
At the alma mater. Okay?
Yeah.
That's something to think of. Yeah. And you've seen the Mannings, go in the different direction.
Exactly.
So that is a good point right there. Does the kid want that much smoke? You go to Michigan and your Woodson son, don't put on that too. Unless you're bringing it. So
I'm telling you. Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's like Arch was smart, man. He was like, man, I'm not going to Tennessee. I'm not going to, like, nah. You want to, it's almost like, man, I have the name, but I still have to be my own man some kind of way. Like, it's already going to be hell trying to get out from up under the shadow of my dad. Then you go to the alma mater too. It's like, man, like it in some ways, like you said, it's kind of like it sounds like a movie, but I guess in a lot of ways, you kind of want the kid just to kind of pave their own road. You know what I'm saying?
But he can't go to Ohio State though.
Yeah, that'd be an issue. Matter of fact, I just saw something.
Herb Street.
Yeah, Kurt Herbstreit. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, oh man, like that's problems on the holidays. That's big problem.
So yeah, that would be interesting to see where young Woodson goes. And I see some comments coming in here. I'm in agreement with the great Mark Russillo. He says Austin Jr. will rush for 2K or Reardon High. That's what we like to hear right there, Mark. So we're going on, you guys, to the next section of the show. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is a fan favorite section of the show, you guys. This is the Lightning Round. And with the Lightning Round, you guys, we put our guests through a word association game. This is word association with the Locker Room Show. Like I said, fan favorite portions. I've got my questions here, and this is a Bay Area native, so I got a good list for them. And if you're joining us for the first time, our guest has 60 seconds. You got 60 seconds to get through as many of the either or the people on my list. Austin, you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind. All right, that's the game. Right. Filtered, first thing that comes to your mind, baby. That's what we want to hear. Don't elaborate because it's going to take too much time. So 60 seconds, y'all. And we don't just do this for fun. We actually do this for a locker room show dinner. So wherever your spot is out by Lakeside High, it's a dinner on the locker room show. If you can get to 15 or more, if you can get to 15 or more, answer it in 60 seconds, it's a dinner on the locker room show. Now, you also give him one for Tech Delay. So even 14, you guys, he's in the mix. He's in the mix. All right. You ready, superstar?
Yeah, hold on. Let me give it a second. Your connection going out a little bit.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
All right,
okay.
Hey,
all right.
Hey, I get -2.
Okay, we might have to give him -2. We're going to give him a handicap on this one. He's a Bay Area kid. I like it. So let's get after it. All right. The lightning round. First thing that comes to your mind, Austin. Number 1. Bishop O'Dowd High School. Go.
King of Oakland.
Lincoln Riley.
Master.
The UCLA Bruins.
Soft.
The best you've ever played against.
Utah.
Scary movie or comedy?
Baby Boy.
Weekend in Vegas or Miami?
Vegas.
Caleb Williams.
Generational.
Bijan Robinson or Josh Jacobs?
Bijan.
David Shaw, 48 seconds.
Super smart.
Favorite place to eat in the Bay Area?
That's gonna be the one. That's killer.
Got him.
Hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
All right, we'll give you one time. It's time. We'll let you finish.
Boy, it must be a lot of busting spots in the Bay, man.
It is. And he probably don't want to offend anybody when he comes home. He probably doesn't want to offend anybody. So I'll give you 2. That's time, but we'll give you 2 more. Lakeside High.
Next up.
Quesadilla or mozzarella sticks?
Quesadilla.
All right. So let's add them up. You guys, and then we'll give them one for the Tech Delay right there. Once again, the number is 15. 15, and we got a good one. All right, the food got them right there. So let's add them up. Number 1 was Bishop O'Dowd. That's his old high school. He said King of Oakland. Number 2 is Lincoln Riley, his old coach at USC. He says mastermind. Number 3, UCLA Bruins, the rivals. He says soft. Number 4, I said best you ever played against. It should have been player. So we'll ask you that after I revisit this. So he says Utah. Scary movie or comedy? He says Baby Boy. He went with, that's kind of in the middle movie. Weekend in Vegas or Miami? Coach Austin is going to Vegas. Number 9, he's going, or excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Number 8, Caleb Williams. He says generational. Number 9, Bijan Robinson or Josh Jacobs. He says Bijan. Number 10, David Shaw, his old coach with the Cardinals. He says super smart. Number 11, place to eat in the Bay. We skipped that one. So number 11, Lakeside High. He says next up. Number 12, quesadilla of mozzarella sticks. He's going with the quesadilla. So with the Tech Delay, he gets 13, ladies and gentlemen. So he was close. He was close to the 15, but the Bay spot ended up making a little bit right there. Okay. There is there is some busting places in the Bay. We got a lot of people coming in. Justin says he's going with Bijan too. Carl Jones, is that Pops?
Yeah, that's Pops.
Pops, how's it going? He said don't lose. So he's razzing you right there. So I love it right there. So we're on, you guys, to our last section of the show. That's the Q&A section. If you're with us live, the comment section is open, as you see. So please feel free to put in a question for Coach Jones. But Guru, I know you got something.
Definitely. So going back kind of to what we were talking about in the earlier of the show, the question for the evening is, when you transfer from Stanford to SC, with a story the program as SC is, did you feel any added pressure once you got there? Like, damn, like just kind of going back through, obviously, man, all the legends have played there. Did it feel different in that sense?
Nah, I mean, I don't really look at it like that. I feel like a lot of people kind of get caught up in stuff like that. Me personally, I just play ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff will come. You know, I know it's a storied program, but, you know, you can say the same for Stanford in the way they had Christian McCaffrey and, you know, the Pac-12 championships that they went to, the Rose Bowl, all that stuff too. So it's like everybody has their own kind of story and what they bring to it. But me personally, I just wanted to play ball. I wanted to play in the Coliseum. I love playing there. So it was one of the things, like, I didn't let, you know, I kept the main thing was playing football. Like, you know, you can go to these programs and, you know, talk about, the pedigree and this, that, and the third. But if you ain't balling, the pedigree don't mean nothing to you. So it's like, you got to ball. Like, so, yeah.
That's what's up.
What do you think is more pressure from? I mean, that's a great perspective that you have, man, and that's probably why you had success. But for guys that do stumble a little bit, do you at USC in particular, do you think it's more the pressure of the competition, the daily competition to get on the field, or the pressure to win? Which one is a little bit more weight for guys?
I think it's just the pressure to get on the field, honestly. You know, because you know, especially with, you know, they're bringing in different dudes every single day. Not every single day, but almost every single day now with the transfer portal. But you know, you ain't competing just against, you know, the people in your you know, in your room. You're competing against, you know, people around the country. They're bringing dudes from all over in different colleges. So it's like, it's really, you know, and everybody wants to come to SC. You know, everybody wants to come and play there, especially, you know, the limelight in LA. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's harder. It's really hard. It's more hard to get on the field than it is, you know, dealing with the fact of, you know, playing at the, you know, the stadium and everything like that. Because every game is a big game at SC. Everything, like every game is a rivalry. Everybody comes to play. Like, that's just how it is. So it's, you know, it's one thing to just say, you know, if you're scared of the limelight, you should be playing college ball. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't be worried about the limelight, more about getting on the field. That's the biggest thing. So.
Oh, that's a great perspective right there. And once again, that's probably why this man was a dog in the Pac-12 for his years playing there. We got a question right here from the great Mark Rosillo. He says, do you think football players should run track in the spring or do spring football training?
If I'm the track coach, you're running track. But if I think it depends on the person. Okay, like if he's a really good football player, he understands football really well, he understands the game, and he's an athlete, then he should be running track. Now, if he is someone that needs to learn a lot more in terms of just, you know, football, catching the ball, running routes and all that stuff, then he needs to be in football training. And then kind of vice versa, you know, because I have my kids, they were running track, but they also were in our football training stuff as well, and they were competing in both, right? Because at the end of the day, like, they have to understand that, you know, football is year-round, especially in college. When you get to college, you get them breaks right after the season, you get that one break in the summer. Otherwise, you're playing football year-round. So it's just, I think just, you know, obviously it kind of depends. Like, if they're a really good track athlete, then run track for sure, but you need to be doing something that involves football also. Right. So it's like, it's just different ways that you can kind of incorporate football to stay in it. But again, I think everybody should. Like, I mean, I hated track. I still ran. I hated it, but I did it just to make myself a better athlete overall. So.
Yeah, I did it too. We've got Noah coming in. I guess he might be on the team. He said, what's our record going to be this year, Coach?
Man, 10-0. That's the point. I ain't giving them no losses.
Right.
They're gonna earn them L's. They're gonna earn them L's.
I heard that, bro.
People try to be realistic and say, "Oh, maybe 7-3 and 5-5." No, man, I'm going for 10-0. They're gonna have to earn them. They're gonna have to take the L's from me. So that's what
I love it, man. Well, hey, I know that you got a million things on your plate being the new coach up there at Lakeside. So we really appreciate you taking the time with us tonight, Austin, and wishing you the best, man. Wishing you the best. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure we got one more. You got time for one more?
Yeah, I got time. Yeah.
Okay. We got Shadow. What's going on, Shadow? This guy knows how to coach. And then we got Jelani Warren saying, what's the hardest part about the transition from playing to coaching?
I'd say the hardest part is getting kids to see the big picture, right? So it's like when you're in high school and these kids don't necessarily understand how much farther they can go as an athlete and, the dreams and aspirations that they could have. That's the biggest thing, is kind of getting to see that, right? Especially where the situation where these kids haven't really won a lot. So it's like getting to see you can be the college athlete that you want to be. You can be a college football player, but it just takes effort. And like for me, the hardest thing is because I saw that vision for myself and I did it and I've been there. So now you're coming back to the point where now I'm seeing that vision for myself. Now, 8 years behind, and I'm trying to get kids to understand that. And that's just the biggest part of the transition from that point, because now you're trying to get them to see. And also, too, is just kind of getting kids to, when you play at such a high level, right, understand the stuff that you really understand really well. And it's like so simple for us, but for kids, it's like, they're like, for me, I'm speaking gibberish to them. So that's another thing, too. So probably those two things, probably the hardest thing, because I had a kid come to me and say, what's a blitz? And I was like, okay, that's where we're at. So, it's different things that, we gotta, it's like, you can't treat them as like, I try to treat them as like, they just don't know anything until I feel like they start to understand. So that's the biggest thing. It's just little stuff like that. So.
I love it, man. And thank you right there for the honesty. I didn't know you were a hooper. The great Justin Taylor says, why did you put down the basketball? I felt you were a generational downhill finisher. Yeah, some Russell Westbrook or something coming down the hill. Why did you give up the ball? You just saw the promise with football?
That was the main thing. And then I was just short. I'm only 5'10", and playing basketball at point guard, dudes are 6'4". So it was pointless for me. I was like, I'm not going to play. So it was like eventually I would have got to.
I'm an All-American in one sport.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, we had dudes. We had like one went to Washington, another went to Utah coming out. So like we had dudes that were just a year above me. So it's like I wouldn't have played until my senior year, honestly. So it was pointless. I was just wasting my time. I would just get in the game, run up and down the court, come out. Nah, I just stick the ball, man.
Yeah, I feel you.
Let me ask you, man, because not many people play with a number 1 overall draft pick, and you transferred from Stanford and you're in the huddle with Caleb Williams. When was it for you? Was it practice or a game where you said, okay, this guy's a little different?
It was practice. I mean, we knew we were going to do a game, but practice, the stuff he used to do in practice was like ridiculous. Like, I mean, there's some stuff that he would do and it'd be like, you kind of like almost like think twice, like, did he really just do that? So it's some stuff that he would do in practice. Like you would see it, just the throws he would make, how precise he was, and just like, timing and everything like that. He's just a playmaker. And then when he got in the game, I mean, we knew exactly what he was going to do. Right. So it was just, like I say, a generational player. And, I don't think he gets a good rap for what's going on in Chicago. At the end of the day, they got a block from a dude. But at the end of the day, as soon as they get to a point where they got a good enough offensive line that can uphold, he's gonna light it up. And then especially if they got the offensive coordinator they got now, it's gonna get serious, because that's what he needs. He needs somebody that fits his kind of mold in terms of more unique and kind of Ben Johnson more brings in like more of a college offense,
right?
Something that it's like more in his style of play, and I guarantee he lights it up. I can guarantee it just by the difference in the coaching. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like the NFL. it has more to do about the scheme than it is about the player. There's a lot of dudes who aren't good on one team and are really good at the other, all because of just the scheme. Like, a lot of people just fall into the right scheme and they can play well.
Was that something you were conscious of, choosing which college to go to, or is that something you learned later?
No, that was something I was conscious of for sure. I knew, I always looked at like how they use running backs, right? Like I looked at Christian McCaffrey and Bryce Love. How did they use them out the backfield when I was coming out? So it was like, different ways I can get the ball in my hand. That's what I was, because I was always, I think every year in college I had at least 25 catches, at least. So that just using my ability in different ways to get the ball.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, hey, we appreciate you. That was a lot of games. Some of you guys going to have to run back tonight's show because Coach Jones laid it all on the table, man. So wishing you best of luck your first year at Lakeside, and thank you for coming on the show.
Definitely.
Appreciate you.
All right, you guys. So, hey, that's another one. That's another one, Q. We keep bringing in these great guests, people that have done it. What was maybe one of your major takeaways?
I mean, man, I would say that was a good question at the end, because transitioning from being a player to a coach, because people have to understand a lot of times, man, just because you're a great player doesn't automatically mean you're going to be a good coach. So for him to have the ability to do that is really saying something. And being able to get through to these kids and bring the best out of them, man, that's a talent in and of itself. So for him to be able to do that's awesome.
Definitely, man. And once again, Bay Area kid, heard about him ripping it up at O'Dowd. And, we definitely want to see him do great things as a coach. Who knows? Maybe one day Q be coaching the Trojans or the Cardinals one day.
So. He's young, man. He's young. He's got time on his side. So time will tell. But we definitely wish him the best.
Yes, indeed. So, hey, speaking of wishing the best, wish our show the best, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. If you're a football player, there's no excuse. If you're a football player that's serious about this industry, we've got a library of amazing guests. You guys, players, coaches, agents, business professionals that have come in and given sauce on the Locker Room Show. So if you are a football player, a parent of a football player, a coach, this is where you need to be every Thursday. There is no off season with the Locker Room Show. Q has been in the trenches. I've been in the trenches, and we're going to bring somebody each week that's been in the trenches too. So Q, anything for the people before we get out of here?
No, man. I'm going to keep saying it, man, all summer long, man. Enjoy yourself. Like he said, football doesn't stop. So again, man, it's a short summer and right back to work. So please understand that, man. You saw pictures of that camp. It's always gonna be somebody out there that's willing to outwork you. Always.
Yep. There's people out there hungry, man.
That all those kids out there want your scholarship, want your opportunity. Look at that. What you gonna do? Guru don't need to say anything else, man. It's right there in front of you. That's the numbers. What
you gonna do? What you gonna do? All right, baby. We'll see you next Thursday. We hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Coach Wood. That's the Guru. We'll see you at the top. Have a good one.